So identifying your vision, honoring your vision has a huge amount of benefits. Look at anyone in their life that has a meaningful life, and you will discover through conversation with them that they have uncovered their vision. It is my opinion that everybody make a commitment that they are going to uncover and honor different elements of their vision so they can realize with absolute faith and conviction that the superconscious mind, the universe, the universal mind is on your side. Charles Haanel says, "The world without is a reflection of the world within. What appears without is what has been found within. In the world within may be found infinite wisdom, infinite power, and an infinite supply of all that is necessary, waiting for unfoldment, development, and expression. If you recognize these potentialities in the world within, they will take form in the world without." So what he's saying here is that there's infinite wisdom, infinite power, and infinite supply within. This is a world created on abundance. Abundance is our natural state. If we do not believe that abundance is our natural state, that is because we have fears, doubts, and indecision or scarcity-based programming that is in our subconscious mind that we learned from the external world via the five senses. It does not come from the sixth sense, which is the imagination and is the connection to the superconscious mind. You will not get it from there. You will get it from the five sensory. Take an inventory in your own life and you'll see. And if we release that programming, we will begin to trust that everything we want in life is within through our vision, and we could use our imagination, we'll talk about how, to work with it to create that what we want. And anybody who has produced a certain level of success where they are doing something and they are living a meaningful life has found something called harmony. In the Bible it says, "The kingdom of heaven is within you." The kingdom of heaven is within you. And heaven means harmony. And harmony with what? Well, harmony between the three minds. The three minds. So what are the three minds? Well, you've got the conscious mind, you've got the subconscious mind, and you've got the superconscious mind. The goal is to be in harmony with the three minds, to understand their purpose and work with them. And as a result of working with them, as a result of being in more harmony with the three minds, you begin to not only uncover your true vision, but you also honor it, and you create it, and you create your own heaven on earth. If the kingdom of heaven is within you, and Charles Haanel says, the world within is a reflection of the world without is a reflection of the world within, then it starts with you within and being in harmony. Your conscious mind is the watchman at the gate. Its chief function is to protect your subconscious mind from false impressions. So we live in a world where we take in information via our five senses, and we give meaning to this five sensory-based data input. Either we form our own meanings, it's either from an empowering standpoint or a scarcity standpoint, or it's from an abundance standpoint. Or we learn this meaning as a result of the opinions of others. This meaning imprints itself in the subconscious mind, and the subconscious mind automatically projects outwards to create reality through people, environment, and circumstance. Now, the goal here is to become in alignment with our true vision, and we have identified that the true vision is one from a place of abundance, spirit of harmony. And harmony is being in alignment with the conscious, the subconscious, and superconscious all working well together. If you want the superconscious to be involved, then we have to encourage abundance-based thinking to stimulate the connection to the superconscious. And programming that has been taken in via the conscious mind goes into the subconscious mind. And if it's disempowering and negative or scarcity-based, it projects outwards to create in the external world, through people, environment, circumstance, that what we have taken in. And then what is created, what we usually try to do, is we try to forcefully change it by changing the effect rather than the cause within. The outer world is a projection from the world within. This world is kind of like a hologram. Everything that we create is a net result of how we believe reality works, which is predominantly in our subconscious mind. And it is reflected outwards, projected outwards. But when we operate from a place of fear, doubt, indecision, which is scarcity-based thinking, one of the knee-jerk reactions is we try to use force, mental, emotional, or physical force to try to change the external world. And that's why Gandhi said, be the change, as in the change happens within. If you try to fight against circumstance in the external world, you give your power away and you don't realize that the power is within you. So with the conscious mind, we have to cultivate the subconscious mind to create that what we desire by first realizing that we are the cause, and the cause is based on the choices that we have on the meaning we give to information that goes in via the five senses. You are like a captain navigating a ship. He must give the right orders, and likewise, you must give the right orders, which is thoughts and images, which again is in your imagination, and impress that in your subconscious mind. Well, you still give thoughts and images from the external world over to your subconscious mind. The question is it in alignment with your true vision? If it's abundance-based, if it's positive-based, then it is aligned with your vision or finding your vision. Those that find their vision actively ask the question, why am I here? What is my purpose here? And the answer is revealed via the imagination. An idea pops up, a hunch pops up, an inspiration pops up. And when you follow that and you honor that, you create something, insights, perspectives, or a result, and it begins to reveal to you more of who you really are based on what you really love. And that's why Steve Jobs said, don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. Your inner voice knows, and your inner voice comes from the superconscious. And you will listen to it when you release the fears, the doubts, the indecision-based thinking that makes you feel like you are the effect of the external world. And we have to make a conscious decision first that we're going to do this, that we're going to instill in our subconscious mind empowering information, that we're going to release the grip that we have on disempowering information, that we are identifying with, which again is the false sense of identity, release that to reveal to ourselves from within the true identity and honor it to the point where we feel and realize that we are the cause and the creator of the external world. We are one with the creator. Now, the subconscious mind, whatever your conscious mind assumes and believes to be true, your subconscious mind will bring it forth. So if you believe in good fortune, divine guidance, and right action, and aligning in the spirit of harmony, conscious, subconscious, and superconscious, your subconscious mind will do the work to bring it forth. It will actually facilitate the connection to the superconscious. So what is the superconscious? So Charles Haanel calls the superconscious the universal mind. Now, Yogananda says, the all-knowing power of the soul that perceives truth directly, intuition. Now, we've all had this experience where we listened to ourselves and we followed something that we found within ourselves, a voice within or some vision in our imagination that was so different than what others were telling us to do, and we honored it at some point in our life. I know I've done this many times. Now I do this exclusively. And as a result of following that, something interesting happened. We were able to create something that made us happy, brought us a lot of joy, raised our self-confidence. Self-confidence is one of the most important things that we can have in our life, because that's how you learn to trust yourself. That's how you learn to listen to yourself and understand that there's a voice within. Now, that voice within can express to you in whatever way you want. For me, it's a voice within. Others have elements that show up in their imagination, beings that show up in their imagination. Some even materialize in the external world. And I know a lot of people that have invisible council meetings in their mind. Now, this may sound very far out to somebody who doesn't understand how this works, but they don't even go around sharing it with people. They share it with me because they know I don't judge them, because I know how it works. The subconscious mind has a connection to the superconscious mind. The superconscious mind will reveal to you the way you want to be revealed to and spoken to, whether it's an image or a voice. But that right there is your intuition. And when you listen to it and you honor it, you'll start to notice that you're creating things that are what you want to create, that are in alignment with the ikigai, which is doing what you love to do, what you're good at, and probably what the world needs and what you will be paid to do. And this is how you live a harmonious life. Now, if everyone were to listen to the voice within, we would have more harmony. Why? Because each individual has their own vision. We are part of a universal mind, which we'll talk about in a moment, and we're individual expressions of the universal mind. So we're each here for our purpose. Some will find their purpose, and as consciousness goes up, more and more people will search for their purpose, their vision. And as a result of that, they will honor it. And you're seeing this more so nowadays than ever before. More and more people are listening to themselves, and they're honoring themselves because consciousness is going up. And the higher the consciousness goes, the more we're going to listen to that inner voice. Now, this does not mean that we don't listen to each other. A lot of times you'll find that others that are also in the spirit of harmony like this will encourage you to listen to your own inner voice. It is through the subconscious that we are connected with the universal mind and brought into relation with the infinite constructive forces of the universe. So the infinite mind, or the universal mind, or infinite intelligence, or the superconscious mind created everything. That's it. Everything has been created through the expression of the individuals. Individual people, individual beings. The external world, the earth, is a collective creation. And it is either created from a place of scarcity or a place of abundance. The natural order of things is from a place of abundance. Fear and scarcity-based thinking is a limited thinking, which may have served in lower states of consciousness, but as consciousness goes up, we can create more harmoniously from a place of benefit for you, benefit for others, and benefit for divine or evolution. That's called the spirit of harmony. And working as a collective, collaboratively, as individuals and as one. Why? Because there is only one consciousness in the universe that is able to think. It necessarily follows that your consciousness is identical with the universal consciousness. In other words, all mind is one mind. There's no dodging this conclusion. So in the Kabbalion, we say everything is and isn't at the same time. We are both individual expressions of a universal mind, and we are one mind. Now, when you begin to work with this kind of information, and you are in harmony within, I call this the lovers within, the relationship between the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the superconscious mind. When you have that relationship within, what you'll notice is that you will attract people who are also in harmony. So when you identify your vision, let's use the ikigai as a model, doing what you love to do, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can get paid for. Let's say you create a business around that, or you want to create a business around that, and you're operating from that perspective, the spirit of harmony. You are now connected to the superconscious. The superconscious will give you the information through hunches and inspirations. And through the superconscious, you will communicate with the subconscious mind of others individuals. You will attract the right people. You will attract the right clients, the vendors, the employees, and also those that are going to be involved with making your vision a reality. Why? Because what they do with you is part of their vision. See, we all work together like this when we are aligned. It is fear-based thinking or scarcity-based thinking that makes us think that the only way that we can get what we want is through physical, mental, and emotional-based force, which is not from a place of real power. That's why I'm a huge fan of the David Hawkins work, because at higher states of consciousness, you operate from a higher power, which is then to be connected to all. You'll be more harmonious in your interactions with people, and you will start to notice in interesting ways that you will attract the right people. Now, this requires you to lift up your thoughts to the belief that it is possible, because as you believe, so it shall be done unto you. If you believe this is not possible, then it is not possible. But if you look around, you'll see proof that nature operates this way. And you'll see many others that operate this way. I know I operate this way. Everyone in my life is harmonious and shows up. And it was not like this before, because before, back in the days, many years ago, before I had access to the information, I lived in fear. Fear that I had assumed to be true via that what was taken in via my five senses and imprinted into the subconscious mind and brought forth as proof. If it's within your subconscious mind, your external world will reflect what's in your subconscious mind, and you'll see it as proof, as fact. You'll believe it as fact. And when you change what that programming is to abundance, to a higher level of consciousness-based programming, that will be projected out in the external world, and you'll assume that to be fact. That's why Neville Goddard says assumptions harden into fact. So if now what I'm seeing is spirit of harmony, it's because I've changed something within. And you'll also find that others are doing this more and more. And so thus, we are all one, and we are individual expressions of the one. And by being in alignment with the superconscious, we understand this connection. It's a very deep connection. The consciousness that focuses in your brain cells is the same consciousness which focuses in the brain cells of every other individual. Each individual is but an individualized expression of the universal or the cosmic mind. The universal mind is static or potential energy. It simply is. It can manifest only through the individual, and the individual can manifest only through the universal. They are one. So that's what we're saying here, is to allow the superconscious to express through you via the subconscious by facilitating the connection. How do you facilitate the connection? Ask and ye shall receive. Seek and ye shall find. Knock and it shall be open to you. You ask and a hunch will show up. And do you honor the hunch? Do you honor the inspiration? It might go outside of what you have learned via the five senses, but that is how you develop faith. And then if you follow it and you make it happen, then you start to understand. We're going to go through the exercise later with the imagination act, where you could prove this to yourself. The universal mind is the life principle of every atom which is in existence. Every atom is continually striving to manifest more life. All are intelligent and are all seeking to carry out the purpose for which they were created. By striving to manifest more life, what we're talking about here is abundance. The universe is, by default, that of abundance, looking to express through the individuals. The question is, are you allowing that to express through you? The only thing that prevents that which is from the universal mind to express through you is disempowering, negative, scarcity-based, fear-based programming that is in the subconscious mind. And by releasing that programming, we allow the way of how to bring it forth to be expressed through us. We also allow elements of our vision, which is our true purpose, to be brought forth in our imagination. Because you believe that it's like that. Because you are understanding that you are connected to the universal mind, and the universal mind creates everything from a place of abundance, favors the well-being of itself, which you are part of. And do you, as an individual, allow that to express through you? When we allow it to express through us, we are in the spirit of harmony, which again, I call the lovers within. The relationship between the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the superconscious, each of them working together harmoniously. The conscious mind directing and choosing and guarding the subconscious mind, which projects outward here on this planet Earth and materializes the external world, because the external world is like a hologram, and the external world is projection, is from the subconscious. By consciously choosing that what you want to create, by consciously choosing abundance-based information to stimulate more abundance within, which causes you to feel a certain way, experience reality from a state of flow, a well-being, lighthearted energy, which releases the excessive grip within, and then allows you to release at the same time negative, fear-based scarcity thinking, which then further facilitates the connection to the superconscious mind. And then as a result of that, they all work harmoniously together. So you can simplify this by saying unconditional love. And that's why in David Hawkins' work, he says, at the higher states of consciousness, unconditional love is the way to be. So we're discussing this, and we're breaking it down, we're getting into all these categories, and we're using Robert Dilts, but to simplify it, unconditional love. Why? Because in unconditional love, you realize that all is one. You're unconditionally loving to whatever, because you also realize at a deep level that all is one, and you're an individual expression of the universal mind. The subconscious mind is a part of the universal mind. The universal mind is the creative principle of the universe. A part must be the same in kind and quality as the whole. This means that the creative power is absolutely unlimited. It is not bound by precedent of any kind and consequently has no prior existing pattern by which to apply its constructive principle. We have found that the subconscious mind is responsive to our conscious will, which means that the unlimited creative power of the universal mind is within our control of the conscious mind of the individual. So this means that you have access to the universal mind, which is the source of all creation, which is the infinite intelligence that brought forth everything, which was tapped into by the subconscious mind of individuals. And you as a conscious being have access to this power for whatever means, and especially when it comes to realizing what your vision is, your true vision. And you do this by facilitating the connection. And you have the power within you. And when in alignment, you connect to the vision. You facilitate that connection. We'll go through the exercise that Neville Goddard mentions that pulls this all together. And you also allow it to express through you and give you the way. The way shows up. You get the ideas, the hunches, the inspirations to bring it forth. And because we're all connected via the subconscious mind to the universal mind, or the superconscious mind, you will then send information to people in some shape or form to reveal to them that they need to connect with you, and they'll get an idea and a hunch and they'll want to reach out to you. Now, don't take my word for it because I said it. I've had many countless experiences in my life that prove this equation, where you just seem to attract the right person wherever. And most of us have had these experiences in our life. I would say that everybody has had it at least once. Now, it was during that time where you had absolute faith and conviction. You just knew it was going to happen some way, somehow. And the more you honor that absolute faith and conviction, the more you will experience this. And the only thing that could break that faith and conviction is fear, doubt, and indecision-based programming that, again, you have taken in via the five senses, which has formed a certain identity, a self-image, which is not necessarily who you are, and is probably not in alignment with that true vision, that when you connect with that true vision, you identify in the external world through what is being revealed via the subconscious, because the subconscious is constantly projecting outwards. You take inventory of that and you change the cause within by reprogramming the subconscious mind and releasing those doubt-based programming, and then you connect the superconscious, and some way, somehow it's brought forth. Sometimes you'll know and be able to articulate how it happens, and a lot of times you might not. You don't even need to know how to articulate how it happens. In the Bible, it is said, "Let there be light." Let is the intent. There be is the way the superconscious works, and light is the manifestation. You don't even know how that be has to be. A lot of times when you create success, when you realize you finally created, it was not the way you thought it was going to be. When I look back at anything that I've created in my life that was of the next level in alignment towards my vision, that what is from my ideal vision, I can honestly say that the way I thought it would play out and the way it actually did were two different ways. One thing that I will say is that I kept trusting my hunches, my inspirations within, and while I would listen to the opinions of others, I would not let the opinions of others supersede my voice from within. I would honor my voice from within, and I would find some unique way of going about doing things to bring it forth, and it will be brought forth, and it always is brought forth. But as the plant reaches down into the mineral world and touches it with the mystery of life, so the universal mind reaches down into the human mind and endows it with new, strange, wonderful, and even marvelous qualities. All men and women who have ever accomplished anything in the world of industry, commerce, or art have accomplished because of this process. Now, if you talk to anyone that's created a high level of success in something, what you'll find is that they, as mentioned earlier, did not really realize how they were going to do it. They just started to follow hunches, inspirations, and so forth. And then there were certain times where they were so much in flow that information was just pouring, ideas, hunches, inspirations were just pouring into them. You'll even find this if you're in like performing arts or you're playing musical instruments. Those that are performing at a really high level report that they lost control and they felt that something came over them and it was expressing through them. And whatever was being expressed through them was being received by the audience as a beautiful presentation or a beautiful music piece or so forth. You'll see this, and you've probably experienced this at some point in your life. It's called losing yourself. People lose themselves in the moment. And when you lose yourself in the moment, that's when you experience the superconscious expressing via the subconscious. That's when the conscious mind steps out of the way. See, what we have to be aware of is if we're putting excessive force into the equation, which is a conscious mind thing. The conscious mind stimulates the subconscious mind, guards the subconscious mind. Instructions are given forth, things happen in the external world, and it's like a dance. The conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the superconscious mind. That's flow. You even feel a lighthearted flow energy. And that's also the energies and the feelings experienced in the higher states of consciousness by David Hawkins. If you look at them, if you read the levels of consciousness, you'll see the higher levels of consciousness are very light and flowy. And what those light and flowy levels of consciousness are revealing at a deeper level is the harmony, and you'll be able to relate it if you just reflect upon it based on what I'm saying, between the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the superconscious mind. So the conscious mind is not trying to force things. A lot of times you'll find that the person in the performance is released of the conscious mind, and they might be intentfully doing certain things once in a while, as needed. That's the key, as needed. But most of them is being expressed via the subconscious. They're in flow. And at a certain level of performance, when they've repeated this process, when they're in alignment with their true vision, the superconscious keeps expressing. So is there an individual that has the superconscious expressing all the time? Well, that might be an enlightened being or an enlightened master or something like that. And the truth is, we don't necessarily have to do that to create the kind of results that we want and the happiness that we want in our life. And perhaps at a certain level of consciousness, when humanity reaches, we'll all be expressing all the time superconscious. But we can express enough superconscious, allow superconscious to flow into our subconscious mind, into our imagination, to reveal to us our vision, which is the purpose of this video. By allowing the superconscious to present itself, by releasing the force-based grip, which is a net result of scarcity-based thinking, which is identified through just looking at how you experience reality. How do you think about people? What do you say when you talk to yourself about people, environment, circumstance? And is it from a place of empowering and uplifting? Are you speaking positively about people, environment, or circumstance? Or are you speaking negatively about people, environment, circumstance? All that information is within your subconscious mind, and that's your inner conversation. And you also will be having this conversation with people. So whatever you're saying is being brought forth. It is actually keeping you at that level. So the inner conversations are the values and beliefs, words that flow out as a result of it, that flows from the identity. What we're asking is that identity in alignment with our true vision? And what we're saying is that the universal mind is looking to express abundance. It's expressing well-being. And if it is not abundance-based or well-being-based thoughts that you're having, then it's not in alignment with that. And we can ask ourselves, where does that information comes from? Now, I'm not talking about ignoring it and being from a place of denial. I'm talking about understanding yourself and reflecting upon yourself and realizing that the outer world is a reflection of the inner world, and we make peace with ourselves. We forgive ourselves, and we forgive the past. And that forgiveness of ourselves and acceptance of ourselves and forgiveness of the past and acceptance of our past releases that grip even more. And then we consciously choose things that are uplifting, information, people, environment, circumstance, and more importantly, the meaning we give to it, that is uplifting, to go into our subconscious mind and facilitate that flow energy, which then connects us to the superconscious mind. And then, as a result of that, we have a better finger on the pulse, you could say, of when the conscious mind gets too involved. And you'll know when the conscious mind gets too involved when you start experiencing the lower levels of the consciousness chart on David Hawkins' work, or another great one is the Emotional Guidance Scale by Esther and Jerry Hicks. The lower levels of emotions, the negative emotions, means that the conscious mind is trying to force something, or it also could mean that there's elements within the subconscious mind that we've taken in and identified with, and we have to work with it. And we want to release that till we get to a place of flow. Now, when we get to a place of flow, what that really means is we're allowing the superconscious, the subconscious, and the conscious mind to all work nicely together. And when they all work together, we experience harmony. So as Jesus said in the Bible, the kingdom of heaven is within you. And heaven is another word for harmony. Okay? Harmony between the three minds. Harmony in the world within will be reflected in the world without by harmonious conditions, agreeable surroundings, and the best of everything. It is the foundation of health and a necessary essential to all greatness, all power, all attainment, all achievement, and all success. Harmony in the world within means the ability to control our thoughts and to determine for ourselves how any experience is to affect us. Control our thoughts is understanding how our thoughts got there in the first place by making peace with it and making a conscious decision to feed our subconscious mind with empowering information, which can be done through stimulating your subconscious mind through sensory-based input via the five senses or the imagination. The imagination also stimulates the subconscious mind. You can imagine and stimulate the subconscious mind, and the subconscious mind will bring it forth. And it is through the imagination that we have the connection to the superconscious mind. It is through the imagination where you will receive hunches, inspiration, voices, whatever your way, invisible counsel, to guide you towards what your vision is and the materialization or manifestation or bringing forth of it. Harmony in the world within results in optimism and affluence. Affluence within results in affluence without. So affluence within results in affluence without. So in other words, we have been programmed with a false sense of identity if we have scarcity-based thinking. It is not our true identity. It is a false sense of identity. It may have served us in humanity for maybe thousands of years when our consciousness was not that high, and we don't need to use physical, mental, and emotional force anymore. We can allow ourselves to express, we can accept ourselves, and as a result of that, we get these minds to work. If you don't even want to think about how these mind works, and this is too, deep in thought for you, then understand this one simple thing. You are really about expressing and being and accepting yourself. And through that, you will listen to yourself and you will find your true meaning. And as a result of that, the world will be experienced very different to you. You will take responsibility because you realize that the external world is based on how you feel, because you will notice a difference. When the moment you start accepting yourself and allowing yourself to express from a place of abundance, it will be reflected out to you by the external world, and you will know that this world really is a projection of what's going on within. And as a result of what is being projected outwards, that information will go into your subconscious mind and continue to keep reprojecting. Now, during the journey, I really enjoy listening to As a Man Thinketh. I listen to it over and over again. James Allen is one of my favorite authors, and I believe he had a really good grasp of understanding of how the external world can be connected to thought within. So let's have some discussions here about this, because I believe this can really help us. Because between the imaginary act of what it is that you want to create and the actual bringing it forth or the realization of it, there's all these things that happen, right? You have to go about your day-to-day activities, you experience reality, there's time, there's all these different elements that we agree upon that is in the external world. And all of these elements, people, environment, circumstance, reveals to us about ourselves. So if we say we want to create something and it's in our imagination, it's our vision, and we believe that it is our vision, we realize that it is, but we have a hard time creating it in the external world, it's probably because there's some other programming that's in our subconscious mind that's also being brought forth that we need to be able to identify and go to work on and release it via subconscious mind reprogramming or nurturing, or consciously using the conscious mind to pick and choose that what is harmonious and related to our vision. So he says, a man can only rise, conquer, and achieve by lifting up his thoughts. He can only remain weak and abject and miserable by refusing to lift up his thoughts. So we can take an inventory of the kind of words we use, what we say when we talk to ourselves, and what we say when we talk to others. And realize that whatever comes out of our mouth, our conversations and our inner conversations are revealing to us about ourselves. And as a result of our conversation, those are our thoughts, and they are keeping us where we are, or they are instilling us in scarcity-based outcomes, or they are lifting us to abundance-based outcomes. And we have a choice at any moment to say the thing, to communicate the thing to ourselves and others from an elevated perspective. Simply put, seeing others from a higher perspective and seeing yourself from a higher perspective, and looking to see the good in yourself and others. Again, embraced by the principle of unconditional love. When you come from a place of unconditional love, what is expressed out of you is going to naturally be, for the most part, if not all the time, from a place of abundance. Now, can a person be in unconditional love at the entire navigating of their experience? Could be. That's a really high state of consciousness. But the goal is to recognize that when you are in a higher state of consciousness, you're going to create that what is and identify deeper that what is your true vision. And this is a continuum. So throughout my journey, I've had various different definite chief aims. And when I really started to put this to use was when I first encountered Think and Grow Rich in 2004. My first definite chief aim was to get out of $50,000 debt. Now, the last video I made was on the definite chief aim. Every single one of my definite chief aims were brought forth. And every time I brought forth a definite chief aim, I uncovered my vision more and more. And I realized that my vision really is very much in alignment with the Ikigai and the Robert Dilts model. And the Ikigai being doing what you love to do, what you're good at, what the world needs, what you can get paid for. And as a result of that, my entire day is surrounded in all areas of my life in relation to my definite chief aim in some shape or form. Everything contributes towards my definite chief aim, and my definite chief aim contributes to all other areas of my life. It's completely holistic. I recommend you watch that video. But I recommend for anybody to pick one definite chief aim and use this process to reveal to them about themselves so they can enjoy the journey plus realize the vision. When you realize whatever it is that you set out for your definite chief aim, it's not just about that reward or that end result, it's who you become on the journey. During your journey, you're going to find scarcity-based thinking show up, the mental conversations that reveal to you that is not in alignment with your vision. And when you go to work on those areas, what happens is you become more in alignment. As a being of power, intelligence, and love, he says, and the Lord of his own thoughts, man holds the key to every situation and contains within himself that transformative and regenerative agency by which he may make himself what he wills. You hold the key to every situation. The reason why we set a definite chief aim is not just for the definite chief aim, it's for the revealing of ourselves so we can cleanse our subconscious mind. And when we realize the definite chief aim, which ends up happening, then another vision is revealed to us in our imagination, the next level. And it keeps going over and over again. I know I speak from experience in this. And each one of the circumstances that is revealed along the journey towards creating the definite chief aim is there to identify what we have identified with. And we can realize then if it's related towards the true identity or a false identity that we have formed. And if it's of the false identity, by continuing to nurture that false identity, by continuing to feeding that false identity, we keep encouraging it. So we then make a conscious decision to release that identity because it's not the true identity. And as a result, we align more with the true identity.